All right, family. All right. All about the fifth house. All about the fifth house. All right. We're going to be using the same format. Okay. So let's get right into it. Uh, First of all, when we look at the fifth house, this is a fire house. Now we just completed a whole cycle through the elements, guys. So first house, fire house, second house, earth house, third house, air house, fourth house, water house. Now we back to a fire cycle, right? So we know the fire houses, expression houses, visionary houses, creative houses. This house is known to be one of the most creative inclined houses in the zodiac. All right, we call it the creation house. Uh, so in general, we know fire houses are dealing with expression. All fire houses are going to be dealing with expression to a degree. Uh, this house is more so how we cultivate, you know, expression in a creative, artistic way. All right. I like to, you guys that's been tapped into me for a while now, I like to call this house the stage house. So it don't matter whether you're a creative, you're an artist. We all have to deal with the fifth house in life, guys. We all have to deal with the stage. We all have to learn how to embrace expression. We all have to learn how to, what is different things you experience on the stage, guys. We experience what it feels like to get our expression off. That's one. The feedback from whatever our expression is, the critique, right? Having to be able to perform, you know, in front of others or whatnot. And when I say perform, that just you boggle all of that down into expression in general, right? So depending on certain alignments and whatnot, we're gonna see how some of us may be forced to express certain things, right? We may be forced to express certain things on the stage. Understand that's going to be one of the most significant themes about understanding our fifth house activity. Uh, when we talk about purpose and whatnot, um, our purpose derives of many different things and experiences, but when we have certain influences amongst the fifth house, they're gonna push you to be seen as an example of something and to display something on that stage, right? So that's something we just need to keep in mind in general. All right, a lot of creative influence are naturally gonna come from this house. Things dealing with appearance is gonna come out of this house. All right. Now, when we talk about creation, okay, this is the home of the sun. This is a fixed house too. So this is a fixed firehouse. This is the home of the sun. This is Leo's home. So when we talk about the sun, expression, appearance, self-identity, being seen. When we talk about Leo owning the stage, knowing how to find the stage, wanting to perform on the stage, being a natural on the stage, because it's derived out of this fifth house like activity, like influence. This is why Leo's naturally being this. This is them. This is the house that is their home. Excuse me. This is why they can naturally have a nature of wanting to be seen, wanting to be on the stage. All right. But people just automatically start thinking if you every type of Leo placement is extremely demanding the stage to a degree. Everything we have to take everything into account because somebody can have a whole Leo stellium and they could be super introverted. We got to understand what activity they have going on around their stellium. Is there a big ass Saturn square to it? So they restrict their own Leo expression or whatnot. So these are important things. And when we look at any planet in Leo, it's gonna want to. It has more potential to be seen. Remember, Leo energy is already going to be connected to our sun sign. All right, Leo energy is already naturally going to be connected to our sun sign. Uh, and anything influencing the fifth house are things that can be seen easier because it's already connected to our first house. It's already a natural connection to our first house that's dealing with personal expression. So these houses intertwine easily, right? Those are the trine houses for you. So this house fixed fire. So we want to learn how to develop, a concentrated way of dealing with creation in our life. We want to be consistent and deal with creativity in our life frequently. That should be in a fixed manner. Us experimenting, testing, playing with our creativity and expressing it. This house is going to correlate to a lot of things dealing with, once again, the inner child. When we talk about the inner child in the fifth house, we know the fifth house is dealing with creation. We know the fifth house is dealing with, how do we get into, how do we, this house is going to deal with sex to a degree because we got creation, sex, inner child. All right. So you're gonna have inner child energy here, sex energy here. These are all mechanisms of creation. So this is why fifth house energy is very lively, is very exciting. It can be eager to act and express. When you have these type of mechanisms surrounding it, once again, this is the home of the sun. So vitality, life, excitement, inspiration. These are fifth house like influences. Um, so yes, depending on somebody's fifth house activity, we may see a lot about what the inner child craves, what the inner child finds fulfillment in, how this person may find fulfillment through creativity, how this person is going to excel dealing with creative expression. Okay, we're gonna see a lot of that getting into the rulers. Um, so yes, that's what we got going on in the fifth house. Okay, Leo's home here, fixed energy, guys. So concentrated with expression, concentrated with creative artistic, projects and expression. This house is dealing with entertainment on all mechanisms. How we like to be entertained, what we like to be entertained by, and how we like to entertain others. Okay? So those are the natural themes of the fifth house by default. All right. Now, elements through the house. Let's start with fire. These are my fire risings. Okay. These are my fire risings. Having fire in the fifth house is going to push you towards being expressive and putting some type of creativity and art on the stage. You're most likely going to be very proactive about these things. You're going to be manifesting people, places, and things in your life that's supporting you to express, making your awareness, your gifts or talents or expression center staged in some type of way. There's going to be a natural excitement or inspiration energy you're dealing with when it comes into creative mechanisms. You can deal with a lot of exciting individuals around you when it comes into creative spaces. Only thing here is you have to be conscious as a fire rising, just knowing having fire in the fifth house when it comes into, because this is the fun house too. That's another thing. The fifth house is the fun house. Melissa, what's going on, Melissa? When we're looking at the fifth house, it is the fun house. So we got all this inner child, childlike activity, influence, creation, entertainment. Look at these traits. Look at these traits, things that children love. So this is the fun house. So when you got fire here, you have to be conscious of how you get into all different type of impulsive things in order to have fun. That you got to be a little discerning at times. Pretty much, your friends. You might have some very adventurous, may run into some very adventurous or whatnot situations in your fifth house. And yeah, it seems fun, but don't let the thrill take off discernment and intuition. Everything can be very fast in the houses where the fire is at. So when you got fire in the fifth house, be careful not rushing things with your creative artistic mechanism or having other people rush you. Remember, guys, elements, the signs in the house is what we're experiencing in the house. All right, it's what we're experiencing. So if you got fire in the fifth house, you may be around some creatives or the right creatives. When you get into your creative mechanism and whatnot, you may already be able to attract inspiring, exciting, other visionary like spirits around you when you jump into your creative bag. So that would be the natural, positivity that comes with having fire there, right? And this person is going to want to give life and birth and shine some awareness. So that's a fire rising for you in general. All right. Now, water risings. Water risings. We know water is more introverted. We know water is more subconscious. So when people have, these are my water risings. So when they have having water in the fifth house, there's going to be more of a deeper, intimate, most likely a sentimental connection to what they got going on creatively. Their heart is in that shit. They're not just making this music. 9 out of 10 times, their music, their art, their expression is getting pulled from a past experience. Now, it could be simply creativity going on here, but you gotta understand, water pulls from the subconscious, it pulls from emotion. So when you have it in the fifth house, not only sometimes they have to be in a motivated emotion or in a right temperament to want to deal with creativity at times, uh, they may have this sacred connection towards their music, their art, because it may be connected to something dealing with creativity. or when they go out and dealing with expression in the world, dealing with their creative endeavors in the world in general, at times they may incorporate past creative experiences in their life and compare it to the future one. Be careful on how you do that. Be careful you're not doing that, stunting your potential with new endeavors, new creative endeavors. All right. But boy, these would be the motherfuckers that's gonna cry in the song. they gonna cry in the performance. They'll be like, oh my god, she's such a good singer. Damn, she's moving me. God, she crying, the crowd crying. All right. So this person is gonna be more influenced, water in the fire in the fifth house. They're gonna be influenced to go into creative mechanisms, but through influence of something that moves them. It's hard for these people to sustain things creatively. Like it's hard for water risings to sustain things from a creative project if it's not moving them, right? They want to be able to move others, connect to others, touch others. This is subconscious. This is the water when it comes into the fifth house activity. When it comes into them creating or dealing with their creative endeavors, right? Potentially be able to create something that others can connect to for healing. All right. These people can come off and be very expressive about things, about their awareness of healing, the subconscious, uh, 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 past experiences in their life, things that have impacted the subconscious. They'll public speak about this shit. All right. Things that are in our fifth house, influences in our fire houses in our, especially in the fifth house. These are just things that we're gonna be able to see from people a little bit quicker. The rising is the first firehouse. We see that on first impression. Most places you study about the first house, article, video is going to tell you, especially the first house is especially how you're seeing in first impression. So if the first house we know is connected to the fifth house, then we know things that are creative, artistic expression. These things are naturally being sought out by the external realm to be seen. People are naturally waiting for our expression. You ever go family? Really think about it. You ever like have a friend? You have a friend bring you around another friend, and they friend silent as hell. You like, yo, when they gonna express themselves? They ain't got nothing to say. So it's you can't even be quiet around another spirit. Like we are always looking out to see other people's expression. We all have firehouses. We all have to engage and participate in expression. Okay, a lot of us have different forms of karma with expression. All right. Some of us need to work the expression muscle a bit more. This whole experience is a spiritual expression, guys. This whole experience is a spiritual expression. We're trying to express ourselves spiritually through physicality right now, through the third dimension, right? So that's water in the firehouse, guys. That's water in the firehouse. Air in the firehouse. This is your air rises. All right. This is my placement. I got Gemini in this bitch. All right, so all this crazy Gemini activity just taking place in my fifth house. And when you got air in the fifth house, guys, this person is going to be inclined to take intellectual matters that stimulate the mind, different thought forms, different critical analysis, different ideologies, and incorporate that into creative artistic expression or be seen for expressing their air in general. These people can fall into many collaborative opportunities amongst what they creatively into. Like these people can find their creative tribe very young in life, or very quick after what it after making the settling with the intention of dealing with something creatively. Once they make that decision, they can attract people. They're gonna attract relationships that revolve around that creativity. Okay. Air here, depending on certain alignments, planets can overthink their creativity. You gotta understand, guys, creativity flows. This is why fire risings are some of the most creative motherfuckers. Because when it gets into the fire houses, they got fire here. So as far as creativity, they could stay in unison with the flow, with the vision, They could be really ahead of themselves at times because they're trying to stay in. They're trying to stay in cahoots. They're trying to stay in alignment with the vision that they're seeing. So it can cause the body and the actions to be sped up at times. But that's what they're in alignment with. Now, when you talk about air, even water too. Water deals with the past, but water deals with emotion. So when a lot of people jump into their creative mechanism and they have a lot of water in their chart, water risings or whatnot, there's it's still a vibe that they're dealing with. It's still a vibe, right? So that vibe, that mood or whatnot can carry the creativity. But there's still a flow. These things aren't blocking things. So when we get into air, my guys are Julius in the building. Was good, King. Now, when we talk about air in the fifth house, air think a lot. So this person can create, this person may be influenced into getting into things that deal with literacy, dialogue, script writing, lyric writing, songwriting, things dealing with words. Uh, 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 they may get into these things within the expression house, the fifth house. So they may like to be the one that is writing the script for something creatively, making the critical analysis, getting into the as far as critical analysis, maybe they like to critically analyze films, and then that gets them into wanting to direct or produce. So all about the when you think about air guys, you always got to think about the logic, right? The words, the literacy, the mind. So all of these things come into play from an expression point of view in the fifth house. So they want to display their intellect, display that script in their mind through other actors or through they're gonna write it and act at the same time, right? But the thing here is, depending on certain activity with air, you could overthink the hell out of your creative expression. You can mess up the flow here. All right? You gotta be conscious of that. You have to be conscious of that. Am I overthinking to the point I'm not even flowing with how I make my music? I'm not even flowing with how I create my art. Okay, so that's going to be very important when we look at air in that house. But you guys could, Lord have mercy, how y'all run air risings could just run into their creative soul tribe really quick. All right. Now, Earth, Earth in the fifth house, guys. This is another placement where, just like air, they could overthink things with the fifth house, but it's going to be over practicalizing things. So you have something you want to do creatively. The great thing about having Earth in the fifth house is that, let's say this artist, this entertainer, or this person that's about to jump on the stage, there's going to be a sense of practicality that they have to do these things with. How much am I getting paid for expressing myself? You know, how am I going to market this expression? How do I advertise it? How do I build stability off of it in the long run? Like, how's my time compensated for what I put into my art and my creativity? So now we got that sense of practicalizing things around creative endeavors. Okay. So that's what we got going on with Earth in the fifth house. I mean, these are the people that, they're not most likely what they've been influenced by. They're not going to just jump into fifth house activity and go so far to the point they're putting all their creativity into something without no sense of, there's going to be a sense of format and blueprint needed. So that's one thing, is they're not just going to the studio doing whatever. Like, they know they want to drop an album at this time. They're going to record this many songs. They're going to budget their studio. It's most likely going to be this earthly influence here, or they're going to run into influences with Earth in the fifth house, where they see how other people are more earthy about their art. So they see their homie, another rapper in the neighborhood, and this rapper got something about their presentation. It's official. It's stable. Got a nice cover art. Got all their music on platforms and streams. They look like they got a manager. Everything's organized and structured. So Earth in the fifth house person is gonna catch an influence like this in some type of way. You may get into a creative mechanism. Somebody come into your life. Fifth house may come into your life and help you understand how to structure your creativity better. Like, hey, yo, Boro, blah blah blah. I see you be posting on about astrology. How about you use this platform and then take your short content, put it on TikTok? So somebody that would be an example. That would be like the same example. Somebody come into my house and they see how I deal with my fifth house energy, how I express things or express my creativity through astrology and spirituality and whatnot, and then come and show me how to do it in a more organized, structured way, especially so I can have my time and energy compensated for that. Earth will run into this in this house. They just have to make sure they're not over practicalizing things to the point you're stunting your creativity here and now. Air and earth around these firehouses has to have, if there's a will, there's a way mentality. Because you will, at times, you will come into thinking barriers with creativity that get in the way. You got to allow yourself to experiment. So that's elements through the houses. Let's get into planetary influences, gang. All right. All right. Let's start with the sun. Leo, the sun. This is home here. This is home here. All right. These are Aries rising. But Leo or the sun in this house, all right, there's gonna be most likely, if there's no squares, oppositions, or whatnot, even if there is, this energy is home here. When planets are home, they're comfortable. So you can see a comfortable influence in that person. When we look at home placements, guys, understand that we associate this person dealing with a sense of comfort dealing with that energy. Okay, so uh uh um this individual is most likely going to have a confidence or a proud like demeanor when it comes to expression and being on that stage. All right or wrong, creative or not, there's going to be a sense of no. There's going to be a sense of I belong here. I belong on the stage. I'm going to experience the stage. Oh, I'm going to use the stage. All right. I may show a lot of you how I'm a natural on the stage. So the sun in the fifth house, yes, their expression, the sun influence in the fifth house, man, these people can gain attention like nobody knows. These people can manifest a lot of attention. They could get really big headed though, egotistical, because that's what a lot of attention can do to you. So depending on their spiritual maturity is how they navigate that. But ego can get out of control here. Okay. On the most mature side, this person has such a awareness for ego. On the mature side with this placement, this person is very wise when it comes into understanding ego. When it comes into understanding things dealing with different issues of the stage, insecurities, you know, nervousness, lack of confidence. This person may understand the things that naturally impact these issues on the stage. Can be the example how to persevere through these issues. Definitely gonna be the example of what the fuck self-expression look like. I'll tell you that right now. They're gonna show you the sun in that fifth gonna show you the sun in that fifth, Leo in that fifth gonna show you is not gonna take a slight to things dealing with expression at all. All right. So yes, if you have the sun in the fifth house, just know you here to be the example of what it looked like to deal with being on that stage and what it feels like to feeling comfortable on the stage. And that even goes into when what you're doing in life with your craft, your business, your spotlight reputation ain't in the best light, ain't looking good, or something shaky with your career, how you're seen in the light, or your performance was something. You still supposed to be the example, how to show us the ups and downs, how to go through all of that. How they loved you on your first two albums, and the third one they critiqued you, said this, and the third, and you had to bounce back in the fourth album. How you perform, all of that is under the scope, under the light. So one can say, pressure bust pipes. One can say that could be overwhelming. On the other hand, the sun in the fifth house person is the one embracing this shit all. All right. May not look at it like that. May look at it like I gotta keep giving the people something. I gotta keep putting something on the stage. Okay, they ain't like the last album. Okay, I gotta bounce back. So this is the outlook of the sun Leo in the fifth house. All right. The moon Cancer in the fifth house. The moon Cancer in the fifth house. This is who again? This is not Scorpio rising. This is Pisces rising. This is Pisces rising. So the moon Cancer in the fifth house. These people can be so goddamn inspirational Moon in Cancer in the fifth house could be so inspirational because the moon is dealing with the subconscious and the introverted energy. But the fifth house is a push out, it's an expression house. So the thing about these people is once again, what we said about the elements through the house, water in the fifth house has to feel moved to get into something creative. And they want to move others through their creativity. So when you have the moon here, Cancer here, they're not giving it an inch of time and energy if it doesn't move the heart, if it doesn't move the emotions. But the thing is, when they jump into their creative mechanisms, we can tell their heart is in that book. Their heart is in that speech. Their heart is in their creativity. Their heart is in their music. It's no hiding it. It's no hiding it. So it gives such an impact on other people's subconscious when they listen to the art, when they listen to the music, when we hear your expression. Okay, so it get deep with Cancer and water in there and Pisces rising and whatnot. And that's why I say it's so inspirational because the moon, it can influence a lot of because what the moon here does, it creates a influence where it's showing that because the moon is already dealing with comfort zones, right? I know you're saying comfortable with the sun. The sun is comfortable because it's home here, but the moon is already dealing with comfort zones. So these people, when they find their comfort zone with their expression, right? Whether they have the moon in this house, if they have the moon in this house, they're already going to be comfortable on the stage to a degree, and they're going to be 9 out of 10 times big about placing their emotions and how they truly feel about something on the stage. So they're going to be big about placing their emotions on the stage. But when we're looking at it from a creative mechanism, because they could, once they start expressing themselves in a way where we see they're comfortable on the stage, they're comfortable making their music, they're comfortable making their art, they're comfortable giving their speech. It comes off so goddamn creative. I mean, so inspirational because it makes us feel like, damn, I need to be comfortable on the stage just like that. We got Najee in the building. That's what it's gonna make you think. I should be comfortable on the stage just like that. I should be connected. I should be emotionally invested. I should be invested in general. I should be nurturing my creative endeavor or creative inspiration in some type of shape or form. So, that energy can get real powerful there. Uh Mercury. Mercury in the fifth house. Mercury, Gemini, and Virgo. Now, Mercury in the fifth house, man, this is gonna be a person they're gonna be one of the biggest critiques of their creativity. Like, it don't matter if they're about to put out Thriller. It don't matter if Michael Jackson about to put out Thriller. It don't matter if it's motherfucking whatever the fuck it is. They're gonna be so critical of their own creative expression. They could have just won American Idol. They're gonna be watching the performance that won them the show. Like, damn, I could have still hit that note a little better. So there's gonna be an extreme level of critical analysis, self-critical analysis in the fifth house with how you perform, how you express yourself in the world. The world's gonna critique your expression so goddamn much. And the thing is, this either leads to stagnation of creation, or this leads to you know, very tough skin and resiliency with the light people will put you in when it comes to how you perform or create, because you might have been through the ringer when it comes into everybody having an opinion about things done with your creative mechanisms. All right. So that may be big going on with Mercury in the fifth house. Uh um when they jump into their critical, I mean, so when they jump into their creative endeavors and whatnot, like they're gonna proofread shit. They create a book. They're about to do a speech. They're about to perform a song, about to record a song in the booth. Boy, they just finna proofread the fuck out of their verses, lyrics, make sure everything fit, make sure everything fit in the speech, make sure everything fit. Listen, they on top of all of that. They're on top of all of that. So be careful that attitude approach doesn't create stagnation. Be careful that the critique you gain on the stage doesn't deter you from things you want to express to the world. Um, these people will display are influenced to display their intellect. Okay. Now, if you have Virgo in the fifth house, you could be a little nervous about not having resources or not having things laid out perfectly before you deal with creative expression and creative endeavors. You gotta be careful of that. You're gonna plan, and you're gonna be influenced to plan and structure around things and have high levels of preparation. So trust that. Trust your preparation for something dealing with creative mechanisms. Okay. Uh, and then you have Gemini here. Okay. Like I said earlier, this is my placement. You have Gemini here. There could be a sense of versatility with things dealing with creative influences. All right, you can see a little versatility here, maybe different things this person likes to place on the stage. This person could be heavily influenced by their surroundings and things with close friends about dealing with creative expression. All right. So, you know, like, 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 like I make music, but that was never like a core. So I've always loved music, been connected to music. But when I started to decide to actually learn how to write music and make songs and record music, that was based off the influences with my best friends and close friends I've been around forever. I always wanted to learn how to make beats, still do, but learning how to actually make songs, that was kind of influenced from them. So Gemini is like third house, my best friends close to home. They influence a lot of things with my creative awareness. And you got Gemini here. You also could get some a lot of support or activity with relationships close to home that support fifth house like activity, but you can deal with some recklessness here with Gemini in the fifth house at times, right? Because we said this is the fun house. So depending on what people are doing to have fun in your close surroundings or whatnot, you have to have into discernment of how you participate into it. Um uh so yes, that's Mercury here. Venus. Venus influencing the fifth house. Venus in the house, Taurus, Libra in this house. Venus in the fifth house gonna have love for the stage. Venus love getting on the stage and everybody like applauding for it and whatnot. Venus can't even start singing yet. They won't stop applauding. They're so happy to see Venus on the stage. She lived for that here. So there's gonna be a sense of appreciation and love that this person has in alignment with being on the stage. All right. They're gonna have a sense of all things correlating to them being on the stage is a sensitive thing for them. You can see this with the moon too. Let's say you have a child, they have the moon or Venus in this fifth house, and they got like a talent show tomorrow. It's the first day of school, and they trying to figure out what they're gonna wear. They're gonna have a sensitivity towards things dealing with creative matters and creative mechanisms or their appearance. Like that's gonna be that means a lot to their ass. All right. So when we look at Venus here, this person when they're in the studio, when they're doing whatever they do creatively, that's where they love to be. They can find a healthy sense of overindulgence into their craft. I don't even know if I could put healthy next to overindulgence. They can overindulge into their craft. So you may have to tell them like, yo, the studio ain't going nowhere. Go eat dinner, get some sleep, come back tomorrow. Like they can have a tight relationship with that house. Now Venus in the fifth house dealing with fun. So Venus has to have maturity of what's fun to her in this house. Let's just say that there. All right, because she could run into a lot of people that make things seem like a thrill just to get her to participate. Venus in the fifth house can deal with a lot of charismatic, savvy, swaggy motherfuckers that try to approach you, from an intimate perspective, this, that, and the third. And you just gotta have discernment with how you read that. When you got Venus in here as well, karmically, you're learning how to show appreciation for this house. So there may be times in your life that universe is pushing you through people, places, and things to show that you're not showing appreciation for your ability to express this creative awareness, this awareness that you have that can educate others. You know, whatever type of awareness it may be. So you need to embrace that with what's the name in this area. Um Now, if you got Libra in this house, this person is most likely gonna, get into influences dealing with, once again, collaborative efforts with creatives. They're gonna want to do things in partnerships amongst creatives. They're gonna see how it's significant to utilize your partnerships dealing with creative energy. And once again, they're gonna be big about placing their ideologies about things on the stage with Libra here. All right. They're also going to be one to be a real create big support systems for other people's forms of creativity too. That's another thing with Venus influence in this house. These people can find a lot of appreciation for other people's creations. You know, they'll tell somebody like, "Yo, if you never made that album, I don't know if I would have got into rapping. Like, I really appreciate what you give to the music industry or to other artists. Like they'll have this sentimental in connection with things dealing with creatives and whatnot, especially creatives that inspire them. Um, only thing about Libra sometimes in the fifth house may I don't want to say that they may be wishy washy. They just may get into situations at times where they kind of wishy washy. It's like you may have run into peers that's doing something creatively, and then you get involved with it. So whether it clashes with something you already got going on or something you have a knack for, you got to find out you're gonna be committed to to this creative, to this craft or whatnot, or especially dealing with craft in general. Having Libra here, you can't feel discouraged having people that don't want to connect to your craft, don't want to relate it with you, or having a struggle to relate it, or dealing with issues having other people be a part of your creation of the craft. That's something you cannot not allow yourself to be discouraged about. You have to continue to just support into that space. And then you got Taurus here, right? So when you got Taurus in this house, this person is gonna place value on the stage. They're most likely gonna you know, you're gonna see very stern expression from them. So when they say things, they mean that shit. You know, when they express certain things from a creative artistic level, is most likely a real sense of preparation that goes into it. Taurus slow and steady. That's the thing here. When you got Taurus in the fifth house, sometimes this is a square too. Taurus in the fifth house, it moved too slow with motherfucking creativity sometimes. It moved too goddamn slow sometimes. So Taurus needs to learn how to kick her pace up a little bit in this house, right? And needs to learn to, sometimes just be in the flow and not overly drown yourself in preparation or having the resources for things, right? Allow your value not to be stunted in life because you're not putting it into the light and you're not expressing it, right? Taurus could be a little too overcalculated here, and you're gonna catch influence of other people that place real value into their creative expression too, as well. So when you have Taurus in the fifth house, there may be something you're talented at, you're good at. You're gonna see other people who work on their craft, they work on their talent, they value it, they honor it. That's gonna be an influence for you to value and honor your craft. All right. Now we got Venus, Mars signs. We got Mars in the fifth house, Mars signs in the fifth house. Another thing, Venus in the fifth house, obviously, this is going to be a place you're going to manifest a lot of potential for love matters. So this is going to be the person that actually finds love in the club. There's going to be the person that found love at the birthday party. This is the person that found love at the concert. This is the person that, find a twin flame and just going out to the event, going out for drinks with their girls and, just going to have fun out on a Saturday day, on a sunny Saturday day and bumped into somebody. So your influences dealing with fun and creative mechanisms can bump you into things dealing with, lovers. Now, Mars in the fifth house, we got Mars, Aries, Scorpio. Um, Mars in the fifth house, determined, passionate, and intentional about dealing with the stage. Sometimes can deal with aggressive, real aggressive, passionate like expressions. That's definitely going to be seen through creativity. If they're into any form of creativity, let's say, or when you see them on the stage, you're going to see Mars. So it's not going to be a Martin Luther King speech. It's going to be motherfucker Plymouth Rock landed on us. We ain't landed on that motherfucker. It's going to be one of those. All right. So Mars in the fifth house gonna give you a Malcolm X speech. Motherfucker get real passionate about what they express and get real passionate about the awareness that they're giving off to the collective. Real passionate about any form of competitiveness amongst their creative expression. This is the artist that makes the song. This and a bunch of other rappers talking about like, yeah, hip hop needs more competition. Let's go. Is this nigga right here, Mars in the fifth house, bring all that goddamn competition with their creative endeavors. Shit, they might experience that shit here too. You see everybody 20v1. You see everybody against Drake right now. That nigga, that is giving Mars in the fifth house. What I do creatively come with a lot of competition. So that's that there too. power and controlling influences with your creativity. So with this alignment, you make sure that when you're dealing with something creatively and you sign an agreement, you sign a deal, you make sure that that's not something that you going over the numbers and the percentages and things make sense. It got to make sense. All right, because people will try to bully you into certain things or take power and control over your creative property. Scorpio in this house has to, if this is a square, Scorpio in this house has to embrace coming out of the dark and embrace allowing their darkness to be seen. So Scorpio can go through a lot of changes and transfer. This is my Cancer. No, this is my Cancer risings. Yes. So this is why a lot of Cancer risings, there may be a little sense of vulnerability, dealing with coming out of their shell with creative mechanisms in general. Got that Scorpio fifth house, right? So at times you on the stage, but you know it's still a vulnerability of being seen. With Scorpio being seen here, Scorpio dealing with all type of vulnerabilities of how it should perform, how deep, how deep or passionate it should get with its performance or expression. Um, the space is going to go through a lot of transformations. So you got to be careful of, especially jumping into thrills and whatnot in your fun house with Scorpio here, because not being able to read between the lines, not being able to see beneath the veil or whatnot, and see through somebody's lack of transparency or whatnot, see through the surface level of things. You can run into transformative situations in your fifth house in the name of fun, intimacy, and sex with Scorpio here. All right, not being able to utilize intuition and discernment with who you participate with, you in environments you participate. But man, these people can end up having very passionate ass forms of expression, and their book, their art, their expression, their speech, their creative endeavors mechanism can provide positive examples of transformation for others. Now, um, so you got Cancer, and Aries. Aries. Now this is a trine. It's powerful as shit. When you got Aries in the fifth house, passionate as hell about dealing with creative mechanisms. They're gonna be impulsive and want to give life to it. They're gonna jump right into it. Remember, Aries got sun energy too. Aries, the exaltation of the sun. So this placement, this is my Sag risings. This placement has to be more aware than Leo risings. I mean, not Leo risings, Leo in the fifth house. You gotta be more aware about Leo in the fifth house, about impulsiveness or rushing. The fire signs, once again, could be ahead of themselves when it comes into fire risings and having fire in creative houses. That's why they such a high sense of clairvoyance and creativity. And that's why they could freestyle in their art and whatnot, right? But Aries, Aries in the fifth house are gonna have to sit their ass down from time to time. There's a lot of energy, a lot of drive and vitality they have towards anything dealing with being putting something on the stage. It's just at times they're just gonna have to deal with more patience, and they're gonna have to be open to working with others. At times they could ruin opportunities being a little too single minded, and their creativity may open up doors for them to, you know, be around other environments, other people to a degree. Remember, the opposite house is the 11th house. So eventually, our fifth house, well, I want to jump ahead of the curve. We're going to get to a relationship with the house, but eventually, the fifth house opens up doors for us to our creativity, our creative expression to flourish out into the world and create all different type of opportunities with how with other people in the world. So, with Aries here, that they just got to make sure that they're aware of that. It can be a little hard to work with them a little bit from time to time creatively. So this might be the artist that the producer or the engineer having an issue with, because they're being a little bit too. They're not really trying to bring a chemistry on partnership right now in the studio. They're really just, I need it this way. Just do everything. You the engineer. I'm the artist. All right. You just do your job. I'm gonna do mine. Like they may this sense of aggression may come off of creative endeavor. So that's really just a deep sense of passion and intent for what they're trying to accomplish. Mars trying to accomplish something. All right. Aries not playing around with that fifth house. Okay. Uh that's why your Sagittarius sun rising can be extremely competitive. They goddamn all the fire signs are super competitive. All of their ass are is anyway. If somebody had to ask me who's by element the most competitive signs, it's probably gonna be fire, and then I was gonna say water next, but I think the earth signs they get into their competition too about things on resource stability and whatnot. I say air signs last. I say air signs last because the air be here and there and gone tomorrow. Like, competition, whatever, I lost, whatever. You go do something over here. So fire and earth, they I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Earth need to see some compensation for the time they put into shit, and then fire signs just have a lot of pride at times, ego. So that combination could be hard to take an L from time to time. But so that's what we got with Mars going on there. All right, moving a little bit to some closer, getting closer to the outer planets. Jupiter. Jupiter in your fifth house, Sagittarius, Pisces here. Now, Jupiter in the fifth house, understand you're going to be pushed on the stage. You're going to be pushed in the stage in your life. And when it comes into experiencing what it is to be on the stage, to have to perform to others, maybe be ranked, be a part of extracurricular activity when you was younger, where you had to have the spotlight on you, or you was ranked, or you once again your performance was critiqued. Jupiter, you experience that in some type of shape. With Jupiter in the fifth house, your knowledge and wisdom be under the spotlight. And this is something common about Jupiter in the fire houses. So when you got Jupiter in the fifth house, you're able to spread your awareness for the intellect, education, experience you have for things. And you create a lot of opportunities with how you go about projecting that. A lot of Jupiter and fire placements, a lot of Jupiter in fire houses create opportunities in their life just because they're always in a push out state of something they know. They could be a little egotistical sometimes, or let me say a little fixated on their awareness about something, even though they may be very brilliant. But nonetheless, Jupiter in the fifth house, you know, this person is getting on the stage, giving their awareness or experience or wisdom about this, that, and the third, and projecting that, expressing that is going to come off inspiring, influential, educational to other people. This person, Jupiter in the fifth house, is naturally going to be inclined to study things revolving around being on the stage. So if they want to be an artist, they may study things about, artists before them. They may study things about, try to pick up knowledge about what things in that environment on the stage will help my performance. Maybe if I do my sound check at this time, maybe if I come up with that. So the sense of experimentation and also analysis on how to expand opportunity on the stage, how to expand positive results on the stage. Like they jump into creativity with a scholar perspective. All right, from a real studious perspective. The only thing about Jupiter in the fifth house, once again, this placement can get very reckless and unstable. It's the fun house. Jupiter's here, there, all over the place. You experience a lot of things with fun. You probably have a social circle that you could hibernate all year, but when you want to go out, you just hit them up because they got something going on. You may have that type of social environment to a degree. So Jupiter in the fifth house, you just want to make sure that there's a sense of stability in your creative projects as well too. Jupiter might get really excited to start all different type of things creatively here. And you really want to stand in your experience of doing things creatively. This makes for such a good creative teacher. For such a good creative teacher. So if you've been fucking playing the piano all your life, anybody trying to challenge or compete with you or downplay your knowledge or wisdom or experience about piano, playing the fucking piano, you stand on that there. You stand on that there, right? Allow your knowledge or expertise for something that you're involved in creatively to be seen. Pisces in this house has to learn how to come out their shell. And I don't even want to say come out their shell because Pisces don't mind coming out their shell for some creative shit. They don't mind coming out their shell, especially to deal with connection. A little shy at times, whatever, is regular water shit, just dealing with taking something from the internal and being seen for it. So that's just natural. But Pisces in this fifth house is gonna have to make sure they have a sense of this is Scorpio rising. These are some of the most fucking creative people. This Pisces in the fifth house go crazy. Because you gotta understand, guys, Pisces is the imagination realm. This is the 12th house sign. So Pisces come in the fifth house, it just wants to take everything that usually would be in our dreams, everything that usually would be in a daydream, anything that usually be some shit we just be reflecting on by itself. No. All of that is expressed. All of it is on the stage. This person's imagination, this person's delusion, this person's all of that is here. But Pisces is already one of the most creative signs in the zodiac. So some Scorpio rising, some of us know some Scorpio rising don't even know how fucking creative they are. Don't even know. The first house is a little introverted, is a little blocked off. Once you get into hearing their music, once you get into seeing this, that, and the third, these could be very well dressed people. But when you see Pisces in that fifth house, man, they need to make sure that they're not riding a wave of illusion in the fifth house, because sometimes these people could downplay their talent. They may not be aware that that they have this thing to put on the stage at times. Or sometimes this person may need to humble themselves to a degree. Now, this all could kind of waver based off of different placements here, right? So this is just Pisces here alone and Jupiter ruling over this house. Okay. But those like the different waves of what Pisces can bring. It could damn near not believe. Like it may have to learn how to embrace faith and belief here. That may be the whole reason you have Pisces. You have to embrace your imagination, a sense of faith and belief when it comes into your creative mechanisms. All right. Nonetheless, when this person does, it was another placement that comes on so goddamn inspirational, educational. All right. When it comes into spiritual creative matters. Now we got Sagittarius in the fifth house. This is Leo risings. Got Sagittarius here. Now, shit. It's a trine. It's another trine. So they're going to explore this motherfucker. I mean, Pisces too. It's Jupiter. These are all we still on Jupiter. So all these placements, somebody's going to heavily explore this house. All right. They're trying to find out what they could do creative. They're trying to find out what they could put on the stage creative. All right. Now, when we talk about Sagittarius here, yes, it's going to be they're going to jump right into things with creative mechanisms. They're going to see examples of people that sporadically jump into the things they want to create or experience. This person is most likely going to be able to experience fun outside of places close to home. You know, Sagittarius. This is Leo risings again. So this may, this may be the person in fucking middle school, high school. They get a social circle that they start hanging out, doing something creatively, but it's kind of a little bit. It's not really in the neighborhood, right? You probably go into a whole nother town and do some shit creatively or whatnot. Could manifest those type of experiences here. Sagittarius in the fifth house can make for such a great philosopher, can make for such a great teacher in that sense, because there's an enthusiasm. They're already fire rising, but they're gonna have a way of dealing with teaching in such a creative way. All right. So they're gonna want to have creativity around their expression, even if it's educational, even if it's around philosophy. All right. Um, and just having Jupiter in this fifth house, man, you're gonna see the philosophy into what they do creatively too. So, if like there's this one YouTuber I like to watch, and I believe he's a Sagittarius. He's a Gemini or Sagittarius. His name is Corporate Business. He's from Chicago. Um, yeah, he's Sagittarius. So he has a series on YouTube. He has millions of subscribers, right? I've been watching his channel since fucking like college. Like, so he's been on YouTube for a long time now. And he just does skits about like life in Chicago. So you have skits and just make up these different scenarios of things happening in Chicago or whatnot. And at the end of every skit, there's a lesson to the story. Lesson to the story. That's why you don't drive, drink and drive. Lesson to the story is why you don't have unprotected sex. Lesson to the story is why you treat people the way you want to be treated. Sagittarius. So even when he gets his creative mechanism, there was a sense of philosophy, there was some wisdom, there was a message, there was a lesson in it. You're gonna see that with Sagittarius in the fifth house from things that they do creatively. All right. That's something you're gonna see from Sagittarius in general too, when it comes into their creative back. Now, so we got that going on. Jupiter moving on. Saturn. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. Saturn don't like this motherfucking house. Saturn can't stand this motherfucker. So when we talk about Saturn, we talk about Aquarius, Capricorn in this area, Saturn in this house. All right. Off rip, Saturn bring too much goddamn seriousness here. Off rip. This the childlike house. This the creation house. This house full of life, vitality, exploration. We're gonna have fun. What we gonna do today? We're gonna go to a paint and sip. We're gonna go motherfucking go-kart racing. We're gonna just have fun in the city. It's the fifth house. Are we gonna entertain others? Are we gonna throw a party, host a party? Oh, Saturn. Oh, have you gonna throw a party this weekend? Don't we gotta clean the house and do laundry? Don't we gotta motherfucking all right, before we do the party, first we gotta make sure we budget this and but I didn't even put together the front and back the lawn and we're gonna invite people. You're too serious, Adam. You're being too serious. Creativity is about a flow. Cannot forget that, guys. Creativity is about a damn flow. So when Saturn get in here, oh, I tell you this right now, they make for a great ass mother. Not saying that they can't be a great artist or creative, but shit, they'll manage the shit out of a creative's back end, front office. This is a good tour manager to have. Saturn in the fifth house. You know how to manage things around creativity. So if this is an artist or creative, they will be really good on the back end as far as like, okay, maybe I should put this much money into the ad campaign for the album, or maybe I should. It makes sense to drop around this time. They're going to be practical to a T, but Lord have mercy, can Saturn self-restrict? And I'm not even being light about this shit. Saturn can restrict here on in the most detrimental way. This person could be so creative, and Saturn will downplay it here because Saturn may not look at the creativity as something it could use. Saturn has to learn how to use something. And when Saturn's in the fifth house, it don't be looking at creativity and light and all that as something it could use. It don't reflect light. This house is the lighthouse. So Saturn here, this person has to be so aware about how many times they may have downplayed something that the external realm said you're good at, that you should try. You have to have a good self-check system here to see that you're not telling yourself you need certain resources just to do things creatively. This is super. If there's a will, there's a way. It's always going to be if there's a will, there's a way, whatever house Saturn is. It's always that thing that's just Saturn. That's not even this place. Like wherever Saturn's at, we got to find out that line, that phrase is going to come up in life in this area. If there's a will, there's a way. Because you're going to be restricted here. Jenski, facts, Saturn. So you already know the vibes. You already know the vibes, Jenski. Either and this is the thing here. It's different strokes for different folks. This may not be such a natural trait about yourself. You may just lean on the positive traits of Saturn here. So anytime you want to deal with something creatively, you go into it very practically, right? You want to get as much resources, you want to plan things out. But with Saturn in the fifth house, you may have experienced the external realm restrict you, especially the father influences in life could have restricted things creatively. Could have restricted extracurricular activity. So you have to be aware about other things you might have experienced in life with Saturn in the fifth house that may have played out as blockages for your creativity that you had to persevere through here. Saturn's always going to create blockages, guys, wherever it's at. All right, but this is the opposite house. So planets are always going to struggle more in their opposite house. So that's what Saturn goes through here. Now, keep in mind, Saturn has to use something. It has to use something where it's at, and this is the area where it sees reality. So this person's going to have to be able to understand that their expression is a tool. I'm not even just saying that in a creative, artistic way. It's going to be times where even learning how to speak up for yourself, maybe in certain environments, especially the workplace at times, or working around people or things that's revolving around responsibilities, they may just have to learn how to really embrace expression and not let Saturn create a blockage there or tell you in your head like, this is not that realistic to express myself right now. What's the reality in expressing myself? Saturn could be a little bit too motherfucking practical. No, the reality is I need to get this shit off my chest. The reality is I need to express this because the situation calls for this, that, and the third. Right? You ain't finna talk me out of not expressing myself, Saturn. Okay, so take this into expression on all levels, create creative, artistic endeavors on all levels. But Lord have mercy when this person ain't running into these challenges of Saturn, these negative traits. They not fucking around with whatever creative project they participated in. They could get frustrated quick when they run into distractions, other people bothering them in the process, in their creative process. This that artist in the studio, motherfucker, friends show up to the studio, they bringing girls came in the studio mad loud. They're like, yo, listen, if y'all gonna be this loud, y'all can stay in the hallway. I'm handling business right now. The friends like, yo, y'all bitches stay in the hallway. All right, hold on. All right, so this is Saturn. Y'all not playing friends. This is Saturn in the fifth house, y'all. You don't want to play with this artist. This artist is serious. This creative is serious. They're 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 embracing not going crazy, staying committed to their creativity because they're making sacrifices for their fucking album. They're making sacrifices for this fashion brand, like So anything that coming away with that shit, this is why they have serious reactions. You don't know the commitment they're making to something creative. All right, and it's not hard. It's fucking Saturn in the fifth. It's not hard, right? So Aquarius here is going to be able to network the fuck out of their fifth house. So every time you deal with the fifth house, you go on Google to find a recording studio around you. And then you go to this recording studio for the first time, and the engineer there, you build such a tight relationship with the engineer, then the engineer connect you to this person, and then you start recording in this studio. So Aquarius could open up some shit here. It's the opposite sign. But it's going to bring where it's from to this house. It's from the 11th house. It's going to bring some 11th house activity to your 5th house. So this person got to know every time they jump into creative mechanisms, they always have influence to enter an unknown environment because of their creativity. And I say unknown as in from an opportunity point of view, unknown as in like I'm getting my creativity or my awareness or my expression on the stage in front of people that I don't know, new faces, exposure. And Aquarius also gonna be weird as fuck here too. This is gonna be your Andre 3000 wearing gray wigs on the album cover, like, and wearing like pajama like outfit. Like, it's gonna be a quirkiness. It's gonna be something different, unique about their creative expression. They may have a lot of rebelliousness in their expression. So this might be your Bob Marley artist, your Bob Marley, your activist like artists. They talk about the system in their art, in their book, in their speech. Okay. Kamek Ham in the building. All right. So that's Aquarius here. Capricorn. Capricorn in the fifth house. Once again, this is your great, great, great. This person's going to catch a lot of influences on, once again, how to structure, organize, blueprint the fifth house. They're going to be real good at, once again, the marketing to it, the advertising to it. They're going to have the be able to align well with the sense of time and patience towards what they're building creatively. Is just making sure that the process is not stunted by feeling like they don't have all the resources here. This person has to be aware that they're not starting mad different things with creative projects, and they could stay committed to them. Got double cardinal. Well, no, excuse me. It's a fixed house, but Capricorn is cardinal. It is cardinal. So you got to be careful not feeling like you got to start building new projects all the time in this area. Okay, and this is also another area where this is who again? This is Taurus. No, this is Virgo risings. This Virgo risings. So when you have Capricorn, yeah. So when you have Capricorn in the fifth house, you can manifest so much opportunities for project building around your creativity, man. Yeah, it started off as a song. 10 years later, 10 years down the line, you own a record label. So when it comes into commitment, it has to be a sense of commitment and time invested in what you got going on creatively with Capricorn in the fifth house, because it could just reap so much benefits. And that's how I'm gonna conclude Saturn in this house in general. You got Saturn in this house. Guys, this is actually a gem for Saturn in any house, but you talking about the fifth house. You got Saturn in this house, man. Commit to your craft. Commit to your craft here. So much opportunities can yield over time, but it's your creativity is not going to blossom overnight. It's not. It is not. Part of the reason you have Saturn here is because you're here to learn how to work your craft. In the past lives, you might have identified the craft you were talented at or something. You might have not. You got talent and skill, so you may not have really embraced, nurtured, and maximized the potential of a craft or a talent that you had. Saturn in the fifth house, from a karmic perspective, that's how I look at this place. Oh, you need to learn how to work the stage. And you're gonna go through a lot of ups and downs doing it. There's gonna be times you're on the stage and you're like, man, fuck building the stage up or building up towards being on that bitch. There's gonna be times you look at the stage like, damn, me expressing or this awareness or being seen, this and third could be very progressive from our reality and forms of stability. Like, so you're gonna this is gonna happen with Saturn here. All right, Saturn make everything so motherfucking car. All right, all right, Jensky, like God, right? God damn it. But there you go. That's Saturn in the fifth, man. Very powerful energy, but yes, just like any opposite, you know, it takes time to get power over it, right? So we got that going on. And what we got? Pluto and Uranus. Pluto, guys, Scorpio and Pluto in this house. Pluto in the fifth house will go through deep transformations over time with their creative expression. Okay, so this is I'm trying to think of like. Oh, another thing about Saturn in the fifth house. I think I kind of said this. I said like there has to be a sense of commitment because Saturn influences longevity, but these people can these people usually have they're gonna have energies in their favor to be able to do things creatively with longevity. So I just thought of like Busta Rhymes. We got certain artists they've crossed so many different eras, right? Busta Rhymes came in the game like early '90s. He's still making music with artists today. So that would give me like a Saturn in the fifth. Let me see if Busta Rhymes. They got Busta Rhymes first. I like seeing if I just guessed placements like that at times. Busta Rhymes Astro. I don't think I doubt they got his birth. He gave me like a Pluto in the 10th house spot too. Oh, we lit, y'all. Okay. He got Neptune in the fifth house. His fifth house lord is Jupiter. Jupiter is cusping the sixth. Jupiter's cusping the sixth, so he's a fucking workhorse when it comes into his creative endeavors. But okay, he does have Sun and Mercury in the 10th, so him having Sun in the 10th does give longevity by default with his social status and reputation in the world. When you have Sun in the 10th house, you have to understand part of your purpose is dealing with social status, being seen in the world to a degree. So there's going to be a sense of longevity he has with that. He has a slight conjunction with the Sun and Saturn too. See, guys, I was just picking up on longevity in career placements, right? So I know he's a creative, he's an artist, so that's why I thought of Saturn in the fifth. But he got the Sun conjunct Saturn, and then he has Saturn in the 11th. So his connection towards the 11th house, his connection towards the external realm, his presence. Y'all have heard me associate this house with fame, popularity, uh, being able to use the 11th house to project, build, and grow brands and advertise. So the fact he has Saturn conjunct the Sun in this area, I could see why he has such a sense of longevity in the motherfucking with the collective. Then he a Leo rising. Not to just start reading his chart all crazy, but it just makes sense because